Alright, Fight News Australia here with Brad Riddell. Brad, it's been a few years in the making, this moment, but the hard training is done. You've made the octagon walk with your teammates at City Kickboxing numerous times, but this weekend you'll be in the cage with Bruce Buffer calling your name.
Yeah.
How does it all feel now that you're only a few days away?
It's kind of kicked in. But I think once I weigh in, it's gonna completely kick in when I weigh in front of everybody and face off and stuff like that. But it still kind of feels like I'm here with one of the guys, like cornering them and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm just looking forward to eating, making weight and eating at the moment, and then I'll start thinking about the fight. But the face off is the thing I'm looking forward to the most at the moment. So.
And you've fought in some big shows before, Glory obviously, won championship, but this whole week in the process, a lot of the fighters talk about how the UFC's a well-oiled machine and everything's on time, done right. How has it compared to some of the other promotions you fought on?
Yeah, it's very organised. Obviously they have like a system that they run every time they travel around, so they like to run on time and they don't like you to be late, but it's very easy to get along during the week. And I mean, the most annoying thing for every fighter, I guess, is cutting weight and stuff like that, but because they keep some stuff going during the day, your days pass by pretty quick, and before you know it, you sleep again. So yeah, man, I've been enjoying the week, and it's been really easy, and it's cool, it's been busy, and I'm nearly there. So
now I want to talk about your time back in Christchurch a little bit. Obviously you're a pretty good footy player, but you turn your attention to Muay Thai. Christchurch is a stronghold for rugby union, obviously. Yeah. What lured you across to Muay Thai?
I'm not too sure. It was like, I don't know, I found it really appealing, like the individual challenge of it, that there was just yourself in there. There was nobody else you could rely on if you were having like a bad game or something like that. I mean, in fighting, you're really exposed. Like if you mess up or you don't get fit enough or you don't train properly, like there's only one person you can blame, and then you get exposed in the ring or in the cage. And I like the fact that I always had to be on edge training because of that, right? Because of the end result. The end result was everything. There was no game next week. If you had a bad game in the weekend, you just play again the next weekend or something like that. If you had a bad fight, you had to wait weeks to try rectify it. And if you lose, it's like one step forward, 4 steps back every time you lose. So I don't know, it's just like the gladiator mentality, and yeah, the drive of having to win. Yeah, the winning meaning everything. Yeah.
And I remember you were training at the Academy of Combat.
Yeah.
And you just got back from Muay Thai. I think you had maybe 3 fights.
Yeah.
The first trip to Thailand, and I could tell you had caught the bug.
Yeah.
But at that time, the grappling and the MMA, you weren't that interested at all in it, isn't that correct?
Yeah, man, I wasn't too interested in MMA or jiu-jitsu or anything like that at the start. I was a pretty die-hard Muay Thai fighter and kickboxer, and I kind of fell in love with Thailand, the fighting, the way they lived, how simplistic it was. It was very unmaterialistic. Man, it was just cool over there. It was raw. All you had to do was just turn up and train, and I wanted to do that, right, for a job. That was my dream job. So when I came back to Christchurch, it was hard to try to get back into the swing of reality, and so I really pursued this career that I have today, so that I could keep living like that.
Back then, did you ever think that you would be able to make a career out of it?
Yeah. Everyone was telling me I couldn't because it was like a minority sport, and I just didn't really care what they said. It was what I wanted to do, and I knew that I had enough talent and work ethic to do it. I just needed to find the right place to go and do it, and that was Auckland, and then Auckland after that was Phuket and China, and then now I'm back here. And yeah, man, so everyone that thought I couldn't do this as a career, I can eat their words, I guess. Yeah.
And when did it change? Obviously you said that you were just really focused on Muay Thai. When did that kind of switch happen where it's like, okay, I might actually give MMA a go?
Well, I got a little bit interested in grappling when I was in Phuket, because we had a couple of brothers there called the Hickman brothers that were wrestlers, and Yeah, jiu-jitsu didn't really interest me too much then, but the wrestling did because of the way they trained. The wrestlers were like all go. Every day was a hard training and they never gave up, and I liked that mentality they had. You know, it suited me quite well, and my body suited wrestling quite well, and I started doing it a little bit more. And then I moved home, and Eugene was trying to convince me to go to MMA, and it took a while. Like I turned up to some sessions, and eventually I found myself having to show up to every 10 a.m. class because I didn't like really losing or getting like held down and stuff like that because I'm quite competitive. So yeah, and then it became not being an option not to turn up because Eugene decided that I committed to MMA.
So you were still fighting in Muay Thai when you started training in MMA though, right?
Yeah. I just stopped. My last stand-up fight was January this year.
Yeah, right, okay. And what are the key things that you have to change when you are striking in MMA? Obviously, you've fought the absolute best in Muay Thai, but striking in MMA is a little bit different. What are the key things that you've had to adjust?
Just your range a little bit. That's the main thing, is your distance, because obviously you can't really make mistakes in 4-ounce gloves. And obviously I don't want to get taken down, even though it doesn't bother me too much now. But yeah, distance. You got to respect the gloves, and that's about it really. That's about it. That's all that changes. Like I can still strike to like my full capabilities. So.
And you fought in cage Muay Thai against the likes of John Wayne Parr and that sort of thing. So even when you put on the smaller gloves, you're obviously already used to it.
Yeah. I was lucky to get a bit of experience doing that. I had an MMA fight when I was quite a lot younger, like 20 years old or something like that, in Burma. So that was the first time I put on 4-ounce gloves, and yeah, it was a different change, but I didn't think too much of it once I'm actually in there. You know, against John Wayne Parr, it was just a striking match. So yeah, I was still very comfortable there. But
and UFC 243 is only days away. It's a massive day for New Zealand combat sports. You got Israel Adesanya fighting for the belt, Dan Hooker in the co-main event, Luke Tremo, yourself. You know, 5-10 years ago, MMA wouldn't even get a sniff in the mainstream news in New Zealand.
Right.
What's the reception been like back home, and are they starting to focus on you guys now?
Yeah, they're focusing a lot, which is cool. You know, it's healthy. It's good for New Zealand MMA and martial arts and New Zealand in general. So we have like a media days at the gym at the end of camp where we let everybody come in and do the interviews, and yeah, there's a lot of people in there wanting to hear what we have to say and interview us and stuff like that. So Dan did a good job of trying to pump it out there at the start, and now Israel's done obviously phenomenal things for the sport in New Zealand by becoming like the best fighter in the world essentially. So yeah, it gets a lot of attention now, and I hope it continues to grow, and because it deserves to. You know, like we have an amazing abundance of fighters in New Zealand. So.
And what about just the general population getting behind you guys? Has the support been pretty big? I saw you got a haka when you came to the airport the other day. Must make you feel like home.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Like everyone gets behind us really well, especially the Māori community. They gave us a pole footy a couple of weeks ago, and then we get like a welcome in as well at the airport. So it's pretty unreal. It makes you sort of realise that you're not just representing like your gym, yourselves, and your friends. You're representing, you know, something a lot deeper. It's very, very cool, and yeah, man, I feel very honoured for this recognition from these people.
And you talked about how this fight is for Christchurch for you. You gave them a shout out on social media. The T-shirt, Quake City. Where were you on the day that the earthquake happened?
The first one, I was in Phuket, and I didn't really understand like the gravity of it because my parents were just telling me about it over like a phone call. Back then there was no smartphones, or I didn't have a smartphone, that's for sure. So it was just a phone call that said it was an earthquake. Thought it was a bit of a shake, and then I came home, saw it was pretty bad, and then I experienced the big one, the second one, and yeah, man, it was pretty unreal. I mean, everyone that was there knows this, and yeah, it was like it changed a lot of people's lives for the bad and for the good, and mine was for the good, I guess. So.
And you say that you're fighting for them to like show respect to the strength that they've shown throughout the years. How much does it mean to you to be representing Christchurch, the first Christchurch fighter in the UFC? It's pretty cool. Yeah,
it's very cool. It means a lot. Like I was fortunate enough to be able to leave Christchurch and pursue a career and live a really good life doing what I wanted to do. You know, some people's lives got ruined down there and they haven't been able to leave or maybe move on, or they had problems with, like, you know, their houses got destroyed and they didn't have insurance and they got left homeless. You know, there's so many, there's always like bigger issues, you know, and I don't have any. So I feel very grateful and feel like I owe the city a little bit of representation on the world stage. So I look forward to doing it.
And now looking forward to your fight this weekend against Jamie Mullarkey. He called you out. He said you haven't fought Australia's best.
He did.
Do you think he said that just to get the fight, or did that annoy you at all?
Oh, maybe he said it to just get the fight, but he made a mistake by saying it because, you know, these guys never put their hands up to fight me, you know, 6 or 7 months ago when I was looking for fights. So whether or not he said it to get the fight, he's just messed up regardless, because it annoyed me. You know, it has annoyed me. And yeah, I'm gonna check that guy's chin on the weekend, and it's not gonna last. Yeah.
Do you fight different when someone annoys you like that? Like, have you had opponents in the past that have pushed the buttons, and how has it affected your performance?
Yeah, it doesn't affect my off. I guess it makes my performance better. If anything, it makes me try to sink them in a bit harder. But I'll go on there like I always am, like cool, calm, and collective. You know, I've coming up to around 80 fights now, so I'm a little bit too experienced to let my temper get the better of me. I'm gonna go in there and fight and perform, and if I get some shots that I can really see and line them up, I'm gonna try to put a little bit of extra effort into them. But yeah, man, I'll be the usual Quake in there and performing. So yeah.
And he fought your teammate Alex Volkanovski. I'm just wondering, what other footage have you seen of him? What do you make of his skill set, and how good do you think he is?
Well, I haven't watched any footage of him, man. I don't really watch my opponents too much. Let Eugene do it, and my other coaches, and they train me to how I should fight the person. And yeah, sometimes when you watch footage, you think about it a little bit too much, and I've done that in the past. So I haven't watched a lick on this guy. Don't plan on doing it. And the camp's gone really well, you know, like everything's gone smooth, uninjured, had a clear head, mentally great, and yeah, like whatever he's got for me in store, it's not going to be a surprise. I've seen it before.
And just city kickboxing, like Israel's gone on this amazing run very quickly. So is Kai Kara France. He's fighting the 5th ranked Sergio Pettis in Las Vegas soon.
Yeah.
Volkanovski's fighting for the title. I know you want to win and win well. Like, what is the goal here in the UFC? Are you looking for a fast track to fight the best guys as quickly as possible? How do you see this next 6 months to a year panning out?
Yeah, fast track's always cool, but my mentality is not really just to get the belt. You know, getting the belt's always cool. It's what everyone's goal is, obviously, to get the belt because it means you're the best in the world. But I feel like if that's just your goal, once you get it, it's get a little bit hard to defend the belt afterwards. You know, my goal is just to leave like a bit of a legacy and like a memory of like what I did to opponents, and that like every time someone got matched up with me, it was like a worry for them, or they knew they were in for a hell of a fight. So this is sort of what I want to leave behind, is like a memory of everyone having fought me. You know, they can always, if someone asks them which one of their hardest fights was in the past, they could say my name. That would be cool.
Awesome, man. Well, best of luck for Sunday, bro. It's going to be awesome.